Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Super Breakdown. Today we're going to be talking about the Super Gundam. The RX-178 plus FXA-05D Super Gundam is the Gundam Mark II with a Super Defensor. G-Defensor, depending on translation. I talked about in the Hyakushiki episode how I think the Hyakushiki is a better version of what the Mark II is able to bring with an extra Garobi added on top. And I still stand by that fact, but I've been playing around a little bit more with the Mark II, and I think the Mark II is really solid as well. Got the nice bazooka on the side. Tracks pretty well, does some decent damage. The beam shot does some basic damage as well. Where the Mark II shines, though, is in that wonderful, wonderful shot from the shield that has some really nice tracking on it and allows you to just chase down targets that try to get away. I should have just fired a regular shot there. I would have had her. Come on, Sarah. Come on, Sarah. There we go. And mainly that's because it has that extra spray at the end of it that allows you to get past some attacks. As if all that wasn't good enough, you can dock with a G-Defensor. You're on a time limit, but then while you have the G-Defensor out, you're the Super Gundam. You have a Garobi with the Super Backpack, but it cannot be altered direction, unlike with the Hyakushiki. And you can also ditch the backpack to regain the charge a little bit faster. I don't normally recommend ditching it because, as you can see, it's not coming back anywhere near as quickly as you might want it to. But you can if you just really want to, or if you need to get more ammo, you can do that. Now, with the burst, you can control the Garobi, which is nice. And it also puts you right back into G-Defensor mode, which is very fun. Gives you a lot more options than otherwise. You also have, there we go. I was trying to line it up, but that's fine. And there we go. The Mark II is a lot like the Gundam Mark I, except with a little bit less reliance on melee. Most of its options are ranged attacks, but they're not really ranged attacks designed for long range. They're designed for mid-range. They're designed for you to go in for the attack and pop them as they come in with them, or track them down with them after they've run off. They're not really designed for a lot of distance fighting. The Mark II wants you to get in close, if that makes sense. It wants you to capitalize on being right on top of your enemy. Fire the Garobi. Cancel out of it. Fire the missiles. And there we go. Missiles come back really quickly, too. If you're not using your missiles, you really should be, because they're worth it. Kind of expected her to stop there, but that's fine. As you can tell... Well, there we go. I was going to say, as you can tell, you're not really doing much good at yellow lock as the Mark II, and especially not at green lock. There's not much you can hit with unless you're just really good with lining up a Garobi. I normally try to time my bursts so that I have Super again. Because I want to be able to get the G-Defensor back up so that I can use the missiles, so that I can be using the Garobi, so that I can be using the extra shot options that it has that do quite a bit more damage than the basic Mark II. So you really kind of want to time your burst around that. You don't just want to fire it off willy-nilly. But obviously don't not use it if you're about to win. And you need just that little push. Or if you're about to lose and you need that little push to bring it back. The Mark II in this iteration is piloted by Imachine. That you can also put Camille Bidan in it, which is nice. Why would you want to, though? Because Imachine is the best girl in all of Gundam. Just laying that down right now. Lieutenant Emma's the best. When it comes... We haven't really talked that much about melee, so let's get into it. She's got a nice charge. Forward melee. Got a nice basic melee. Forward melee is a chase down, pop-up, which is nice. And then back melee is another pop-up, which is nice. Because it allows you to combo into stuff. I really prefer the forward melee pop-up, because it leads into the double sabers, which does quite a bit more damage than the back pop-up. But, like I said, the suit is kind of designed for being in melee range. You're not supposed to be further away from your enemy if you can help it. We're going to go ahead and Super Backpack, fire out those missiles. And you guys know I always fire when they're at yellow when I shouldn't. But it's a really fun suit. So then the question comes in of should you use the Mark II with the Super Backpack? I think absolutely you should. I think it is a really good close range unit. designed for staying right on top of your opponents, sticking around them, obviously blocking when they have a big attack coming, which I failed to do there miserably, and then focusing on capitalizing your missiles, focusing on capitalizing your Garobi, getting in there and doing the damage you need to do. I think the Mark II is absolutely great for that. I would still prefer to use the Hyakushiki myself, but I can definitely see where the Mark II has its advantages the Hyakushiki's missing out on. As you can tell, it is just a lot of fun to use the Mark II. And you get reload on all these attacks with your shots pretty quickly. The basic, you don't have a charge on your basic melee rifle, but that's fine. Or basic melee rifle, your basic rifle, but that's fine. It does decent damage enough on its own. And get over this one, and then we'll charge up that Garobi and finish this off. I thought they were about to... Oh, they did fall into it. Okay. I was about to say, I thought they were about to fall into that. But the melee attacks do change a little bit when you have the super backpack, because they have a little bit more thrust behind them, but for the most part, they're pretty similar. But that is the Mark II. I love the Mark II. Like I said, personally, I would still use the Hyakushiki more, but I think the Mark II is a lot of fun. With that said, I've been Trey. This is the Full Spectrum. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that the Mark II has to offer.